Hello friends, this is Mustafa here, and today we're gonna talk about Git and source controls, which is very important if you're a software engineer and you have to know it. Yeah, let's say just the first of all is what are they? What is source control and why we need that? The source control basically is a tool you can just control your codes. What does it mean? It means, let's say you have a project and you are adding a feature to your code. You go forward on writing your code, but at the same point, you're just thinking, oh, I did wrong. I had this wrong. I can optimize my code. Maybe you learn a better way to do that when you have more skill. So then you can go back to the last version, make your changes, and then go back to the new version. So this is great. You don't have to worry about where are your code, when I did this, who did this, and how can I fix it, because changing the code, it's very tricky if you don't know how, and you think it's very easy, but you change it and then you destroy or ruin all the project. So for a very small feature, you change the code and then you ruin the whole project. So this is very important to know the history of your code and why you did that, when you did that, what time you did that, and who did that. Then you can just play with that more. Another great benefit of source controls is you can collaborate with other team members. Let's say you guys are working on the same project but different feature. So in this case, using the source control, you don't have to worry about conflicting your code with others. They don't have to either. So they do their thing, you do your thing. At the end, you guys merge all the code together to the main branch. That's very great. And in the main branch, you know who did this, you know what you did, and if in the future you learn some more skill, you can go back to that exact point of the time, make your optimize your code, make your changes, and then go back to the new version. This is great. Yeah, let's talk about this, which is very important. You have to know it if you want to work in a great companies these days. Otherwise, they don't let you just be part of the team. So yeah, let's do that. All right, let's jump into it. To do that, first thing first is just to install the Git on your computer or your server. In this case, I have a Ubuntu server, so I need to connect to it. Connect to that, I use SSH. Let me just make this bigger so you can see it better. All right. Just want to connect to my server, which is 192.68.40.97. All right. And to just make sure if we have Git or not, we can say Git dash dash version. All right. So the Git is not found. It means we don't have Git installed on our server. As I said, I have Ubuntu server. I use the Ubuntu commands. To do that, I actually, if you see it here, it just lets you, gives you some command, you can use it. So we can do that. You can say sudo app install git. Password, go for it. And then, yep. All right, the Git is installed. Let's just make sure if it is installed or not. Say git dash dash version. All right, you see the Git version is 2.43.0, which is not the latest one, but it does it's good enough. It does the job. All right, let's do that. I just want to know where are we? All right, we are in the root. The second thing we should do is just to config the Git. Config is basically you just introduce the user of the repository, and then whatever changes you made in the code, people and you yourself can just track. So we need to introduce myself. How to config the Git? We can say git config dash global, which is globally in your server. And if you have some repository on the server, still the username, it should be same. So dash global user dot name double quotation Java, and then say same thing, config global user dot email, and then we can say Java for there you go. We configured our Git. Since now whatever changes we do in our repository, this username is just shown as who did the changes. After that, we need to create a repository. How we can create a repository? All right, as I say ls, if I go to desktop, what do we have in the desktop? We have new folder, but I just want to create a new one, say let's say project. All right, so mkdir create a new folder for us, and I just named it projects. Okay, and now if I say ls, I see the project here, and then I go to the projects. Now I'm inside of a project. There is nothing there. How to create a repository? We can just say git net. That's it. So now we have a repository in here. How we can just make sure, if I just say if I just say ls-a, it just shows you .git, which is your repository. All right. Before going further, let's talk about the stages in Git. Okay, I have actually a very small PowerPoint here. So in Git, actually in source controls, we have 3 stages. One of them is working tree, which is your local branch, the one on your computer. So whatever you change, it's still in your computer, it's still in your server. And then it's not tracking by it's not tracked by, so whatever changes you do on working tree, it's not gonna track by Git. So you have to ask Git to track these files which I made changes on my local. And then by doing that, it means you make a commit. When you make a commit, it goes to the staging area. It means Git is tracking your files, your changes. But still you're not done yet. If you want to put it on your repository, so you have to push it, your changes to the repository, and when you do that, other people can see it. Otherwise, nobody can see it. So first of all, you make changes on your local, There's nothing on Git. You ask Git to just track your changes by committing to the staging area, and then you push it to the repository. Other people can see that. All right, so we have 3 stages. Just remember this right now, because if you remember, we create a repository which is in our project folder. So we are already on repository. We don't need to push it to other repository. In this case, we only have 2 stages. One is our working tree. The second is a staging. Okay, the working tree. If I the first command I want to talk about is just status. Status is a current status of the branch you are working on. The current status of your working tree. So if I just say git status, I see I'm on the branch master. No commits yet, nothing to do, right? So my working tree, if you remember this, is clean. But if I just want to do my first commit, I would say, let's just create a new file, index.html, and then using the Vim text editor to modify it. Okay. Now do that. All right. I would say type, say HTML. Say add say body I would say h1 say feature 1. All right, and then I save my changes. Now what happened? We created a file named it index.html and then modified it, add some changes to it, right? Now if I just say git status, you see on branch master, no commits yet. We have no commit. But if you see, we have untracked file index.html. What does it mean untracked file? It means this file is not tracking by Git. You have to add it to the Git if you want to track it, if you want to be tracked. Okay, how we can do that? We can say git add and the name of the file, git index.html. There's another way. If you have multiple files and you don't want to do it by one, you can say git add space dot. That's it. Now if I just clear this and say git status, see on branch master, no commit yet, but the index.html, it's not red anymore, it's green, which means Git is tracking your file right now. Also, it says new file. This is a new file, so you didn't have this file before. And then if you remember again the PowerPoint, we have to put it on the staging area. The staging area is very important. How we can do that? We can say git commit -m. -m is a message you have to add for the case to come back in the later on. You come back to your changes and you know what you did. In this case, what we did, we just add index file. That's it. Or anything you want. But the convention is actually, if you add a file, just say add and what you did. If you modify a file, just say modify what you did. Okay, so we added the index file and added the message, add index file and enter. And now it says one file change, and so we created our first comment. If I just again say git status, so I'm branch master, nothing to comment. So if I just say git log dash dash one line, this is actually shows me the history of my changes I made on my branch. So if I just say git log dash dash one line, enter, you see my commit, add index file, and it has an ID. Let's say I want to modify the file. So if I would say sudo vim index file, and then I'm coming here and say, oh, I need to add some title to my file, right? I would say title, and then title, then say git, okay? And then save my file again. If I say git status, it shows me the index file has been modified. What does it mean? So it means the Git is tracking your file, but still your changes are not on the staging area. So you have to add your changes to the staging area, because this one is red. If you see, it means nobody can see your changes. So I would say git add dot, or being more safe, I would say index.html and then enter. And if I say git status, now my file is green, which means is tracking. And now I have to commit my changes. I would say git commit -m. My message is add a title to index file. Now, if I say git log dash dash one line, you see I have two commits. The first one is add index file, and the second one is add a title to the index file. And the head of the branch, which we talk about this later, it's on the second commit. So far, so good. I think that should be good for this session. We will talk about other commands of Git in the next session. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day, and goodbye.